Hey Internet, I'm Chaz.
And I'm Dan. Welcome to Wine is Serious Business, episode 210. It's been a long time since we've had German wines on the show.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to get back to them, even more excited to have a show of one of my favorite producers.
One of my favorite producers as well. So.
Selbach-Oster Riesling. We'll let Chaz run with a little bit of his history with it while I do the pours, and then I'll talk more.
Well, I mean, my history is not terribly long with it. When Dan and I were first getting into wine, or when Dan was first introducing me to good wine, so one of the first wines that really struck me was a Selbach-Oster Grapfelhimmelreich 2006 Auslese that just positively blew my doors off, and was like $24 or $26 a bottle, right? Like, so much complexity, such wonderful, high-quality wine for what I considered a tremendous value, and still consider a tremendous value. And so, year on year, I still continue to buy a small amount of Selbach-Oster stuff, because one, it ages forever, right? You can drink it now, you can drink it later, it's always good, and they're just wonderful wines. So, yeah.
Yeah, anybody else from the Mosel you buy?
Right off the top. Let me
German Rieslings?
For German Rieslings, I buy some Donhof.
There we go.
As my other one, the Nahi producer, it's definitely a different style, but good. And then I don't know, I have to think about it.
No, that's pretty solid though, right?
Yeah.
Like regular two. I really like the 2010s. This is also like, yeah, one of my favorite producers. One of the guys, like, it's amazing. He's got kind of like international distribution, successful winery with a lot of history. But when you talk to him, it's a lot like talking to the smaller Oregon guys that we've had on as guests, where he's in love with the vineyard. He's got really developed ideas about how he likes to farm each specific area. Always has ideas for like what makes the best wine in a given year, and it is excited to tell you about it. And man, the wines just consistently deliver.
I'll agree with that.
And then there's also a lot of hype behind 2012 as a vintage in general.
Yeah.
I've drank very little of it. And I've had these wines.
Only a few for me, yeah.
For maybe a couple months now. I've been wanting to get them on a show to try them all together.
Awesome.
Hopefully so I can buy some more of the ones I'm most excited about. Wine number one tonight, this is the 2012 Zeltinger Riesling Kabinett Trocken. So Kabinett means the grapes were less ripe when they were harvested. Trocken means it's fermented totally dry. And Zeltinger means that it's from the village of Zeltingen. And there are a few famous vineyards attached to that village, and often you'll see specific vineyard designates. If it's just a village designate, I believe that means that the fruit can come from any of the vineyards attached to it. So a little bit of a blend, approachable price point. I want to say I got this for just under 20 bucks.
Nice. All right. Oh yeah, can't pour. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Slacking.
Talking too much, but
yeah, no, it's terribly exciting wine to get behind. I mean, 2012, there's been a lot of hype behind it. I know one of our friends, Matt Devensenzi, loves German Riesling.
Been on the show a few times, yeah.
He loves German Riesling as much as us, and has been just like sending me constant texts about, oh, I tried this 2012, I tried this 2012, and it was the best I've ever had. So definitely good to hear.
I'm getting a lot of like floral notes on the nose, like kind of white flowers, and then kind of like the icy minerality, right? Like kind of when you find, just like ice cubes or frozen bodies of water. A little bit of like lemon zest, I think.
Agreed. I mean, definitely a little bit. There's a little bit of like sweet fruit notes in it too, like less so apples. If it's going to be apples, we're talking way more times like the Bread Delicious side, right? Like just a touch of it. But yeah, it's just like, it's got a really, really nice sense of minerality and nice sweet fruit.
Yeah, I'm getting like a little bit of apricot in the background, but like the ones that are just barely ripe. Like we say apricot when I'm talking about, especially Riesling, like the dessert wines, it's like the thick, juicy apricot, and this isn't that. It's like the just barely ripe, like crisp, fresh.
And the intensity is not jumping out of the glass. Like it's definitely got to search a little bit for it, but smells very nice. So.
Yeah.
Solid texture. That's solid.
Easy
really
drinking, light, refreshing.
When these wines are good, when the Trocken Rieslings are good, like they can pull off that weightiness that you get typically with like a sugared wine, but it's completely dry, like born dry in the finish, and like, I don't know, it's very interesting, and this does that, and it's almost a little viscous, almost like a white Rhone wine. Do you get any of that whatsoever, like weightiness or?
Just barely.
Yeah, just
I mean,
barely.
enough. Like in essence, I disagree. I'm not really feeling that, but I kind of see where you're coming from.
That's So
I kind of see where you're coming from. There's a little bit.
it's weighty and
kind of sitting in the middle of the palate. Yeah.
It's a little more substantial than your standard white wine. So
I think some of those like whiter flowers from the nose definitely show on the palate. The fruit is also really like gentle, maybe even edging a little towards a strain, right? Little lemon, little lime zest. Good length on it for sure.
What are those little Satsuma oranges? What's taste? It's got that.
Cuties, like little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got at least it's got some of that distinctly on the finish, like almost like an orange juicy sort of thing. But yeah, the liminess, the lemons definitely play stronger. Wonderful acidity.
Yeah.
Along with this, like very well balanced. With that texture, it's just great.
Yeah, and just like good strength to the acidity, but it's never gripping or harsh or anything.
Right. The balance is nice.
Light and clean.
Yeah, that's freaking good.
Yeah, Trocken wines can really edge into the rough side for me really quickly.
No, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like the acidity shows more. It's really easy for the alcohol to get out of balance. This doesn't have any of these problems. And as I hear people talk about the Kabinett, this really delivers on the promise of just like, right, you could sit down and drink a bottle of this while watching TV or work on your computer in like probably 30 minutes. I hate to say that, but you're just like, where did it go? What just happened?
Yeah.
Totally enjoyable.
Really delicious wine. I'm finding that I really like Mosel dry Rieslings. Like the more I've been having them, there's not many of them.
No,
like
they're coming up though. They're coming up. There's more.
Okay,
Yeah.
the more that I have them, I've been a big fan of the sweet wine for a long time, and the more that I'm having good examples of dry ones, I'm just loving them. I love that this can have all that complexity and all that wonderful flavor that you typically get in a sweet wine, and then it's bone dry and it's got a little more alcohol, kind of like it. So 88 plus, 89 points for me.
Sure.
Right bordering on the edge of really great, because I mean I think it's complex and it's a very easy, delicious wine, but yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
89 points.
Yeah, 89 for me as well. Similar things. Probably is even a touch of my sweet tooth that's keeping me from going one step further. But and I'm still even learning the Trocken wines. Like I taste them, but I'm still trying to figure out where their strengths are. Where I'm a little more drawn to the sweet wines when it comes to it.
Wines like this would age. You know, the Trocken Riesling.
Probably just fine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to trying some old ones. I want to now.
Yeah.
I'm really interested. Okay.
So on to stuff that ages, I guess in the generally understood sense, the Wehlener Sonnenuhr 2012 Auslese from Selbach-Oster. This vineyard is one of the first that really made an impression on me.
Oh yeah, I gotta drink that rinse, man.
A number of producers work with grapes from this vineyard, but for whatever reason, like, you know, the words kind of stuck in my head, right? Long names. At some point, I made the connection, probably thanks to explanation from our friend Ewald, made the connection that it was a specific vineyard, and it's something that I've sought out over time. All of these are new to me too. I haven't tasted any of these before today.
So Zeltinger and then Wehlener. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
So like similar. This is just. I mean, this is like a. I can't keep track with distance, but this is just like a short walk down the road from Zeltingen. So they're pretty much right next to each other along the river.
Connected by vineyards practically.
Great sun. Totally. Yeah. They're definitely connected by vineyards. You could walk from one Sonnenuhr to the next on a little road.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right by the river. It's gorgeous. Man, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
This wine smells gorgeous.
Yes. Yes.
Dan's getting excited.
It is.
Man.
Just keeps bringing you back. There's this fantastic sense of depth. There's always more to be had on the note here. Apricots are a little more ripe, a little floral again. Oh,
I'm struggling with exact flavor descriptors here, but this just smells like delicate and sweet and mineral and just really, really nice. It smells really good.
Getting a little bit of lemon underneath the riper fruits, giving a little structure on the nose, if you will.
I like there's like I'm struggling with the nose on this one for some reason. I don't know, but it smells beautiful.
Nice, fresh on contact, zippy. Yes. Yeah. This.
Absolutely killer. Like this is really sweet.
Yeah.
It's very sweet, but the acidity is so impeccably balanced in this wine that it comes off not without overwhelming the palate or weighting the palate down at all. Like the sense of it being able to clean away all that sugar and doing so without being obvious about it, I guess is where I'm trying to go. Like it's just, yeah, killer.
This is really getting into some other things I really
good.
love about brilliantly executed Mosel Riesling. It's got this little touch of acidity, kind of brightness, a little lively texture to it, kind of fades and you're like, oh, where'd it go? A little bit of apple core maybe, like a little bit of like middle of the fruit apple, and then there's just this slow rise of incredible complexity with, punctuated by great acidity that gives it like this lift and tartness and precision. That is kind of jaw-dropping as it happens, right?
Yeah.
And then it just goes. Kind of these layers keep adding, and to watch it go through that evolution, of a wine that's brand new, right? That it's
Right.
still got all this going on. It's really incredible.
I don't know what to say after that. That was such a good, that was a good description of what's going on. A very good description, which I would agree with on almost all points. I'm definitely maybe not seeing as much of the complexity as Dan is here, but the precision specifically, like this wine is so well integrated. I think anyone could like this wine. So
That's actually a really good point.
there's not a single person on the entire planet that would probably drink this and
And have already
go,
done-
that's disgusting.
Some people hate on sweet wines, though. They really do.
Well, they do.
I've been amazed by that. I try to introduce people, like, I drink on the sweeter side, and some people are like, it's too sweet, I can't handle it. I'm like,
I think a lot of people's problem is they, just like with anything, right? They've had a really bad example in the past,
sure.
and that's changed.
And that's what comes to your mind, I guess. That's what.
Right. And sweet wine. There's a lot of shitty sweet wine out there. There's a lot.
Fair enough.
And so to tell these people like, this is some world class sweet wine, that doesn't at least to a lot of people, I don't think that is two words you use in the same sentence, right?
Fair enough. I guess that makes sense.
Sweet
Sure.
wine. So to the general public, right? But anyway.
Yeah.
So this one, trying to get back into the show here. Trying to taste it again.
And as I'm tasting it, as I was kind of like talking and listening, I was drinking more quickly. I think you lose some of the complexity on the back end here. Definitely, if you're trying this now, my thorough advice is to kind of do it in small sips and really think about what's going on in your mouth. It's got complexity to give.
It does.
Yeah. 94 points for me. This is fantastic. Amongst the best wines I've had this year already. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I am loving it as well, but definitely not that much. I feel like there could be just a touch more intensity. Like the way I feel about it is like it reminds me sort of like tonic water and lime.
Sure.
It's got a little bit of that effervescence almost on the palate. Like it's
I've
got
that. Maybe there's a little CO2 still in there. Younger bottle, maybe.
Just a little touch of that. The fruit flavors are just beautiful. Definitely a lighter touch across the board. Like coming from the Trocken wine, you actually kind of feel like maybe I should have had this first, because the Trocken wine has a little more intensity, a little more punch to it. Personally,
sure.
But I like the delicacy, and I like where this wine is at. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a very good one, very good Riesling. 91 plus 92 points for me.
Nice.
It's delicious. So
Nice.
you'll have to excuse me, people.
No, you do.
Had a rough day today.
It's good. Good wine. Riesling will cure what ails you.
Oh, it really does.
2012 Selbach-Oster, Zeltinger Sonnenuhr Riesling Auslese. So the two Sonnenurs, that's German for sundial, and there are these big stone sundials built right into the stones of the vineyard. Pretty cool to see. If you ever get the chance to go, I can't recommend it highly enough. If you think the Mosel Valley would be an interesting place to visit, you'll love it.
Get some of that. Do the rinse, all right? I can like that. There we go.
Minerality adds a little more of that musty note to it that I encounter. That's something I see fairly often in German Rieslings. Sometimes it can be even overwhelming, and something that I've learned is it's something that blows off too. So if you're ever popping like a Spätlese or an Auslese that you're really excited about, and you're like, oh man, it smells pretty musty.
It's almost like a moldy
Maybe
cellar.
it's
or
cork,
something
but
like
it's
that.
not. Like it's not
Yeah.
PCA. You've had some more experience with that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's definitely different.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about it, let it sit out for an hour. It'll blow right off.
Okay.
It'll be crystal clear. And these are pretty much pop and pours. But in this case, I don't think it's too distracting. Like it's present, but there's still
No, it's not distracting.
solid fruit there. Here I'm really getting those little sweet oranges, maybe even a little bit of the mandarin oranges on the sweeter side.
Agreed.
A little bit of that sugar syrup in there.
And definitely at least to me, the sweet fruit thing is not as prevalent. Like this is definitely more on the oranges, the limes, like not immediately sweet. Like I could almost like see like sort of cake frosting or something out of the last
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Just a touch of
Yeah,
sweetness.
yeah.
This one doesn't have that immediately prevalent to me. So
And more strength on the nose, I think,
yes,
too.
a little more intensity.
And I will say that has been consistent for me between the Wehlener Sonnenuhr and the Zeltinger Sonnenuhr. That Wehlener is a little on the lighter, little more ethereal side. Yeah.
I want to touch to say there's a floral component here I'm smelling as well. The white flower thing a little bit, but definitely not as prevalent as the Wehlener Sonnenuhr. So. Well, that's good. Definitely a touch, a few steps higher on the intensity level than.
Yeah, in a number of ways, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. The fruit intensity here is stronger. The flavor intensity here is stronger. The acidity, definitely a touch stronger. Whereas I would border on calling the Wehlener Sonnenuhr elegant. This is definitely a little like more forceful, but I like that.
Yeah.
I like that touch more intensity. Like it definitely speaks to me. So.
Yeah, and like where this got, like I was talking about, it gets like, there's that little bit of drop off right after it contacts. This kind of contacts and starts to grow pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
It just gets really expansive in the mouth. And much riper fruits. I guess I don't know that, but I'm guessing the sugar's a little higher here, but I'm getting like your pineapples, your fully ripe apricots, right?
Yeah.
Like edging into the peach. Nice core of minerality sitting in there. Not so much icy, but still like cold, clear water.
Maybe even some of the river stones or slate that you know. I don't know. I can't taste the slate. I haven't sucked on a slate stone at some point, but I have sucked on a couple river stones, and I can sort of see that, a little bit of that here. Man, the ripeness of the fruit here, paired with the sweetness, and then with the like absolutely like the ton of acidity that's going on here, play a really, really great balancing act. Because if any of them were out of touch further than or out of balance, this would be kind of a weird wine. Like,
Yeah.
But this is drinking awesome. I like the intensity here. It's very strong. It's very forward, and I'm into that.
The texture of the acidity is just brilliant too. It's strong, but it's
Riesling. You
it's
can
like,
drink it all day.
Yeah, it's like vivacious, right? It's got this like sense of life.
Good word.
Really
for it.
uplifts. It uplifts those like thicker, sweeter fruits on the palate.
That's rad.
Yeah, and the complexity's more up front. I'd say there isn't quite as much evolution going on late. You get all the goods a little sooner here.
But there's a very long lingering effect to the finish. I mean, it doesn't like it disappears quickly, right?
Not at
This
all,
wine
no.
has a 20, 30 second long finish. I mean, yeah. And the sugar definitely helps it in that sense, right? Definitely the ripeness of the fruit and the way that sugar definitely lingers on the palate. Yeah, it's man. If this had any less acidity, it would be really far out of balance. But it's working.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really good. I think with a few years
Yeah.
when this wine ages, this is the one to stick in the back of the cellar, in my opinion.
And I love like the mineral core on it too, kind of as the finish runs out. Even though they're both designated Auslese, the experience on this, like you could definitely drink this as a dessert wine too, right? Like
yes.
small glasses, you know, after dinner with some people. I think it would serve really well in that context. Where this one, not so much. I think this is better as a full glass serving. Let you really savor that delicate complexity more. This could keep up with some bigger desserts.
That's a really great point.
Yeah.
That's a perfect point, yeah. This is definitely more desserty, just in the way the sugar levels, the way the intensity of it. Yeah, this I mean, it was the way that this wine came across. It was like almost, yeah, you could drink it just midday with your dinner, whatever, right? Anyway, sorry.
No, that's yeah. So right, and it's fun. Like in Germany, you get to do horizontals all the time. Same winemaker, different vineyards, different wine styles, side by side. So many great contrast, compare opportunities. You know, if you're really into kind of the nerdy side of wine, the place just continues to deliver fantastic rewards.
I can't wait to go to Germany.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Fantastic trio from
Well,
Selbach-Oster.
score it.
Yeah.
92 to 93 points for me. Somewhere in there. I really, they're both really good. I definitely prefer the stronger style, but Dan is completely right. This is definitely more a dessert wine driven style than this one. This one is definitely a bit lighter. So
93 to me. I prefer this more, and this is like 94. What I'm struggling with is I kind of wanted to go 95. We're talking I know we're talking about points too much.
yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, I will. No, 95. That's fine. Yep, we'll go there. We'll still stay with 93 on this. Loving them, and this year, like, I haven't been able to drink as much German Riesling as I usually do for whatever reason. But
Why is that?
I'm drinking a lot more Oregon stuff this year, I guess. That's what we've been out tasting, what we've been doing on the shows. Just it hasn't been as much German stuff. So,
Okay.
so I kind of made a point of get the show, get into it.
And the 12s are still on the market, yeah?
12s are still on the market. They're going, right? I mean, there's hype
Right.
behind it, right? There's like Big Press has been talking about it too. So I'm sure when like the famous names show up, they're going to disappear really quickly.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of coming that way. But another great thing about the Mosel, very much like Oregon, there are a ton of smaller producers doing great things that don't have that fame or like collector following.
Right.
So the wines are available.
Herbert Potson.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, and the vineyards all have fantastic fruit. People have been working these vineyards for hundreds of years. So learn the vineyard names, follow them. And Selbach is distributed internationally, so wherever you live, if you're watching this, I bet you can find some wines from him. Go talk to your local wine store, say you want them, I bet you can get a hold of them.
I know we've been talking a lot about 12, but even like his 11s, his 9s, like vintages that weren't hyped that much, are all delicious.
Yep, it's true.
I have not
Super
had a single bad wine from Selbach, and so
yeah. I bet he might see this. If you do, thanks for what you do. We really appreciate it. You're making.
I love drinking your wine.
Making the wine world better. Totally. Question of the day. We'll get more specific. Let's get down to it. If you're watching the show, you probably care a little bit about German wines. What's your favorite vineyard in the Mosel Valley?
Grocker.
Downprost, Himmelreich?
Himmelreich.
Yeah. Wehlener Sonnenuhr held mine for a long time. After visiting there now, I think Zeltinger Schlossberg has taken that over from me.
That's a good one, too.
And I cannot wait to try, after tasting these two, to try the Schlossberg Auslese. It's out there somewhere. I got to get my hands on one. I don't know how. It's going to happen. And the Schmidt. For those of you who know what that is, that's got to happen.
Excuse my language. That's a really good wine.
Yeah. So that's my favorite. You got his favorite. Let us know what your favorite is. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We really did.
Yeah, I love drinking these wines. We'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.